all the corporations that are controlled by State Street, banking, Vanguard, and BlackRock. Take control of the transnational corporations away from the inbred Swiss group that controls it, the pharaonic bloodlines who have been trying to turn this entire planet into a giant prison. This is not going to be allowed to continue. So again, things are going to be coming to a head between now and November 1st. I'll probably provide more updates if I get information, but right now we're all waiting for the big meetings next week. And if it's the fake Trump who shows up in Japan and to meet Xi Jinping, he'll return empty-handed. If it's the real Trump, he's going to have to agree to a jubilee and a complete revamp of the system. We don't want to continue the U.S. corporate government as it is. We don't want to have reality TV actors pretending to be our leaders while the true powers stay in the shadows. This is not going to be allowed anymore. And the other thing is, we're not going to let them start any more wars so they can harvest children for adrenochrome and slave women and for the organ trade, all that kind of stuff. They're quite desperate now because these people do require human sacrifice to get the energy they need to keep their systems going. And with the war in the Ukraine basically over and the slaughter in Gaza being strongly curtailed, they're trying very hard now to start a new sort of war in Venezuela. But again, that's not going to work. This planet has a satanic infestation. There can be no doubt about it. And a lot of the Western leaders are basically blackmailed by these Satanists. They have to be removed. So, again, it's going to be a crucial time. I have some meetings scheduled with Japanese right-wingers and Asian secret society types, and I'll know a lot more after these meetings. But there is a general consensus that enough is enough, and we have to bring things to a head finally. So, again, nothing's happening yet, but it's all about to happen, and it's going to be big. Okay, well, that's what I have to say for myself today. Now I'd like to answer questions from readers and viewers.
Evan, we have our first question for today. It seems to skirt FEC rules as if APEC can back-channel and fund politicians using something called Democracy Engine LLC. Do you know what this is, and have you considered this funding source when reporting on the USA bankruptcy?
They have something like 70,000 different non-government organizations that they use to do all sorts of social manipulation. I'm sure that's one of them, although I don't know the details of that one. The other thing they do to launder their funny money and to control societies, they control religious cults, the Mormons, all sorts of different cults. That the Christian Zionists, and here in Japan they have several different cults that they have been using. What they do is basically they use the religion, tax-free religion, as a vehicle to give money to people who they think they can manipulate society on their behalf. All of that needs to be shut down, including the one you just mentioned, although, again, I don't know the details. Okay, next question.
Hi, Ben. What if the Kirk event was staged and he's not dead? Old Demigard has found it resembles too many other staged events. I agree there are too many Trumps. I don't understand why, if the fakes exist in real time, why surrounding staff and or the real Trump doesn't announce the issue the same way that Trump denounced the 2020 election steal. What are your thoughts on this?
As far as the Charlie Kirk thing is going, I have been told by some sources that he's alive in a military base, and that it's hard to tell. Maybe there's wheels within wheels, and the White Hat staged that fake assassination to ruin Israel's reputation, or maybe Israel tried to kill him, but it blew up in their faces. We just don't know. But what the point is, we don't want to have this sort of reality TV, like events, street theater stage to try to manipulate us. That's not how we're supposed to run a government. The government's supposed to listen to what the people want and then try to figure out how to make that happen. It shouldn't be, staging an event to make everyone go off to war or something, which is what's going on now. That whole system needs to be shut down. Next question.
Hi, Hi, Ben. Is the real Trump against the AI robotics takeover of humanity, against the digital ID? We are in a human extinction event if this isn't stopped. The AI job apocalypse is starting to accelerate the U.S. economy. The UK government is trying to force digital ID on its citizens.
You know, the problem with all this digital ID stuff is that there is something out there known as physical reality, and it is above and beyond the AI or digital ID. It's sort of, the story of King Midas is a good example of how this, or analogy of how this works. King Midas was granted one wish, and what he wished for was that everything he touched turned to gold. And what happened was he starved to death because the food turned to gold and he couldn't eat it. Digital ID, all that digital stuff, it's not real. You can't eat it. It's just numbers. And as long as the underlying reality, physical food, physical metal, all that kind of stuff exists, no matter what they try, it's not going to work. Basically, what's happened is the West has lost the material war. They don't produce. Their industry is hollowed out. They have to borrow from the rest of the world to get their foodstuffs or their material, and they can't pay for it. And they're trying to use digital as a way to, pretend they're not going to pay their debts. I've been told there's a plan to take all U.S. debt, put it in the cloud, and then disappear it. But that's not going to work. The Asians are saying, hand over physical gold and silver, and they don't have it. They've jacked up the price of gold desperately to try to get people to sell their jewelry so they can have enough gold to pay off the Chinese. It's not working, and it's, but yeah, the fact that the current Western oligarchs are spending all, future investments on building these giant data centers means that they are the enemies of the people, and they are trying to create a digital prison, but it's going to fail. AI isn't working. It can't fact check. It can't confirm the real world. Real companies in the real world can't use it. The thing's a giant hallucination, and it's going to fail. But they're desperately trying to do that. But again, I tell you, it's not going to work. And as far as the real Trump and the fake Trump are concerned, what I've been told is there's a very serious battle raging, and neither side is strong enough to put down the other side as of yet. But I think that will change once the Chinese really do cut off industry, and they will force the military to, get rid of all these satanic oligarchs, or else they won't get their paychecks. If they do, arrest these people, then yeah, the U.S. military will be working to help save the planet, which is the job they were supposed to be doing in the first place. Next question.
Okay, guys, this is Benjamin Fulford. I've been listening to him for many, many years. He's an investigative reporter that got a hold of some incredible information. He's global. He's been all over the country. He knows everything that's going on around the world. And one of the things I want to talk about is how he says exactly what I say. And you got to understand something. When I listened to this guy, I was already in tune to everything that he was saying. And what we're doing is we're finding our brothers and sisters that are awakened. And boy, the internet does not like that. They don't like us to find each other. They want us separated apart, hate each other, Actually, they'd love us all in jail because we could just sitting in jail and we can talk about all kind of things we want, but we can't do nothing about it. So we can't get on the internet. We can't, hell, you got a recorded phone call. I mean, that's where they really want all of us. And by the way, they tried to put him in jail a bunch of times too. So they actually made a deal with him, and they promised him, oh, we'll take you in our underground cities and stuff like this. So all you got to do is shut up. But somehow he made a deal with the Chinese to be protected from these allegories. So now, what is he telling you? Look at my two previous videos. Okay, this is the first time I watched this video. So what is he telling? He's telling the same thing. The United States needs to do what the Nazis did. You have to arrest these oligarchs. You got to arrest these people. I mean, These are the people that are claiming we're in debt to them, which is fictional debt. They borrowed against our trust, our birth certificate's trust. Their total currency is a promissory note. It's complete fraud. Their debt is fraud. So why would when the big beautiful bill came out, I thought, okay, that's going to piss off Elon Musk. But personally, the first thing I thought was, does Donald Trump just plan on filing bankruptcy because he's a genius at that? Because that's what we need to do. We don't owe these people any money. Listen, why do we owe them money? Because we've been fighting wars for them. We go and fight wars and they give us money and we're fighting for them based on our birth certificate trust money. I'm telling you. So we're fighting for them. I'm sorry I get so excited, but I'll stay calm. We're fighting for them. They're giving us money to go fight. Let me ask you a question. If the mafia wanted somebody killed, right? And of course they do. They give somebody money. Hey, I like John Wick, whatever. Here's $1 million. Go whack this guy, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the mob, after you pay him $1 million and he successfully whacks a guy, then the mafia, this is what these families do. The mafia is saying, oh, you owe me $1 million. No, I don't. You paid me $1 million to whack the guy. I whacked the guy. Debt is over. These people are going, okay, we want you to go whack Hitler in World War II. So we went and whacked him. And you're in debt to me. What? How am I in debt to you? And we shouldn't have never got involved in that crap because Hitler and the Nazis were arresting all these oligarchs, which is what we have to do today. These people are claiming we owe them $37 trillion and they're running the currency through China, and China's building a military stronger than us. And they're paying for their military. How are they building all of this wealth? Well, number one, selling our children. That is a fact. He talks about adrenochrome. I talk about it. I talk about spirit cooking. They like to listen. They live off of sacrificing our children. And in World War I and World War II, especially World War II, this is where I became a listen. All of us are slaves because of our capitalized name, birth certificate, straw man, universal commercial code, and maritime admiralty law, and the British accredited registry. All of that is fraud. That is Satan saying, I own your soul. No, you don't. And this is why they wanted to sterilize us. Okay. What does COVID-19 stand for? Okay. It is certification of identification of artificial intelligence. So basically, they injected you with nanotechnology and you are identified as their property. So I'm telling you. I'm telling you. And the mRNA actually goes into the RNA and it manipulates the RNA. And now your body's filled with spike proteins and all kind of poison and toxin. And it reacts. Actually, let me tell you something. The 5 and 6G, if you don't think that's tied to COVID, actually when you read about Palatine and when you read DARPA and all these documents like I've done and studied it, what they're trying to tell you is they're using your electricity to give out the 5G network. And the fiber optics that they run their house is feeding off the people that live in the house. You are the 5G network. They turned you into 5G. Because, ladies and gentlemen, they figured out that, hey, a human being, just like the movie The Matrix, is a light bulb. You produce energy. And what did the Matrix movie show right when they opened it up? That you are the electrical driver of their Matrix. You drive the Matrix. You drive the AI. You're going to be you are going to be vehicles of their artificial intelligence. In other words, you're going to be powering the robot. Because the robot can't power itself. It has to have a battery. And then they use you to charge the battery because you are a human being. If they give you, even if they feed you toxic food that makes you sick and ill, you're still going to be generating electricity. Wake up, people. They're also tapping into the stratosphere. They're also building their own. Listen, when they build their underground facilities, that's all Tesla technology. So they get the good electricity, the one that keeps them alive forever, and you get the toxic shit. Okay, and this is why they're coming out. I'm gonna tell you, I bought one of these solar chargers, right? I mean, one of these charge boxes where you can charge a cell phone, power goes out, whatever, and that thing only charges itself with a sine wave inverter. So in other words, you have to have an acoustic changer in an electric grid to even charge it. So when you go back to the old inverters, it won't even charge it. So ladies and gentlemen, that is proof of what I told you, that you are the 5G network, because they've changed the acoustics of the electricity that charges your power. You can take your little charge box there and you plug it into one of these older AC/DC converters, it won't charge it. It will not charge it. It just goes flash, 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 and it won't charge it. You put it into a sine wave inverter, which is I'm telling you, they've tapped into your acoustics because your body puts out an electromagnetic field. So, all right, I'm gonna stop talking about that. That's way over a lot of people's heads, and it complicates them and things like that. So, all right. Also, he talked about the pedophile, child trafficking, sex trafficking, warmongering, just exactly what I talk about also. Because when you look up World War II, you'll see the money. Nazis were arresting all these royal families, which is what we're trying to do today. Ladies and gentlemen, if Hitler was so bad and Germany was so bad, it's bad today now because they got Moderna. Because they went over there and they conquered it. And then the rich oligarchs took over the country, and we did it for them. That's our country. Germany's actually our country because without the U.S., they would never have conquered Hitler, ever. Without the U.S., we would have had to form an alliance with Germany just like we do with Russia. And which to me, but guess what? If the United States would have joined the Nazis in killing all these rich oligarchs that poison our food, poison our they stop us from living to 1,000 years. They stop us from elevating our conscience. They dumb down our kids with indoctrination in the schools. They've infiltrated that. They're spraying poisons in the air with their freaking airplanes. They've been doing that. I've been filming it since 2010. It's been going on way before that. Stratospheric aerosol injection. And that's Bill Gates, which is a puppet for the Rockefeller, which is a puppet for the Rothschilds. So how many people know that before Hitler was betrayed by Europe and the U.S., because the U.S. was listen, the U.S. and Europe, parts of the European government and the Russian government wanted Hitler to get rid of these oligarchs. And guess what happened? They baited and switched him. You really need, listen, if you don't understand, if you want to listen to mainstream, what you're taught in school about Hitler, you are being lied to on a massive scale. He was actually killing the paganistic Jews. And when you read about what happened, when they conquered Germany, the paganistic Jews escaped, and guess where they went? They went to Isis, Ra, and Elohim, which is a paganistic religion with a pentagram. That is not the real Jewish people. Sorry to tell you that. So you want to call me an anti-Semite? Let me tell you something. Jewish people are awesome. And by the way, if you talk to any Jewish person that's really Jewish, like Jesus, they will tell you that's Satan. That pentagram is not our symbol. It shouldn't be on their flag. And not only is it not their symbol, but they're genocidal murderers. Jews follow the same 10 commandments we do. The laws of Moses, no question about it, thou shalt not kill. If you got Netanyahu slaughtering people, then that is not Jewish people. Okay, and then they formed their partnership with the Mormons. The Vatican Bank started during World War II, which, if you think that I'm lying about being a victim of the Catholic Church's human trafficking ring, the Vatican Bank would have never been created if it wasn't for the blood transfusion and the organ harvesting and the child trafficking. Listen, every single business in America, car dealerships, hospitals, Vatican Bank, every politician, especially the Lyndon B. Johnson, okay, every politician that took money from these royal families to go over there and kill Hitler, even the mob started their gambling casinos and their bars and their restaurants to go party and their nightclubs. Okay, everyone that took that money is the allegorical Judas Iscariot because they betrayed God. If you understand one thing, don't let them confuse you. The Catholic Church has had good people in it in Germany. When the Vatican Bank was created after, because you'll notice that Hitler was just hanging out with the Vatican. So all the people in the Vatican are not horrible. It's just the leadership, the black pope, the white pope, and they have to, in order to be a part of the organization, they got to follow orders. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of bad priests, no question about it. Order following priests that are obedient to the system, absolutely. Matter of fact, my priest that sexually assaulted me and was running a human trafficking ring, and Saint Benedict's, was an alcoholic. He was an ex-alcoholic, so he came out of the justice system. And they planted him in there to do their corrupt things because they got something on him. He's an alcoholic. And there's so many. Look, if you think that's the only place that the school systems did the same thing, the judges, same thing, they're compromised individuals, the lawyers, listen, do you know why I am starving to death and have no food and no money and can't get a job because I've been blackballed by these royal families because I'm talking about them? And not only that, they wanted to start World War III. So there was an agenda and there was money dumped into Louisiana through our politicians that said, hey, I want Freddie Wust in a mental institution or a jail so I can harvest his children for the World War III war efforts. And this is a fact. And they did the same thing to my mother's father and family members and my father because both of my parents carry the D antigen, which is the Rh negative genetic trait. So they can produce 20 babies, and they might be 3 Rh negative blood type O babies out of that bloodline. They might produce 20 babies, and 10 of them are Rh negative blood type O. And now they got a blood mine. Now they can supply the blood and the organ transfusion, just like they did in Ukraine, for their war efforts. They're preparing. Ladies and gentlemen, if you sit here and tell me that when we go to war, in World War III, that they're not going to need blood and organ transfusions, then you can't just stop, turn the video off, and stop listening to me. You're too dumb. They did it in World War I. They did it big time in World War II. In World War II, they created a covert through the intelligence agencies, through the military-industrial complex, through the religions, through the media companies. I kept going, why is Donald Newhouse sending people to my house to have me arrested? Because those people are listen, they're not Jews. They're paganistic, pentagram worshiping Isis, Ra, and El. They're not real Jews. Isis is a paganistic god. Ra is radiation poisoning, the sun god, which is the light bearer, which is associated with Satan, and Elohim is also associated with Satan. It's got nothing to do. And the Trinity, it's real, but their Trinity's fake. So the Father, the Son, the Holy, which is your left brain because it's filled with holes, and your right brain, your spirit, that's your spirit brain. So No question about it. Duality is part of God. No question about it. So you can think with your left brain and be a Democrat. You think with your right brain and be a Republican. But guess what? Until those two brains come together, and what happened to me, and understand that the Democrat and the Republican Party is one bird with two wings, but they're flying in the same direction. AI, artificial intelligence, digital currency, they're all going in the same hellhole, just like World War II, World War I, that the super wealthy oligarchs are dumping money into the U.S. to build this network of slavery. And that's all it is. Indoctrination, slavery. It's going to be filled with Minority Report type pre-crime. Matter of fact, I saw an arrest on TV the other day that they pre-crimed a guy. They predicted that he was going to go to an airport and shoot it up, but he didn't. He walked in with a cell phone, but they arrested him anyway. So they just predicted it. And by the way, the guy's life was destroyed, career was destroyed. He was a targeted individual. Might even be part of the O negative blood type. I don't know why they target him. There's many reasons why they target people. Many. So, might have even targeted him just because he's 6'3". I don't know. There's no telling why these people target you for breeding camps. There's no telling. And no, every mental institution is not filled with all Rh negative people. There's a lot of them in there. Blood type O or O positive. They want that blood too, by the way. But they're targeting people through their DNA, through their electromagnetic field. You know, the microwave cameras can see your electromagnetic field. And if you have a strong electromagnetic field, you're going to be false flagged, swatted, arrested. You're going to be shadow banned on the internet, and you're going to be targeted, and you're probably going to lose your job soon. Unless we stop it. All right, so the satanic pedophile cult, Benjamin Fulford. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter who you know, Alex Jones talks about it, but let me tell you something, guys. Look, I like Tucker Carlson, I like Alex Jones, but they're not who you think they are. Okay? They're not. They're not telling you about the fake Trump. Listen, I've noticed that Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones follows guidelines or they get canceled. And they don't go flat out radical like this guy does and I do. I just flat out tell you. Because I've got nothing to lose. Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson has a lot to lose because they make millions of dollars. And so the real truth is going to come from people who are on a borderline of being homeless. So like I am. And I'm not homeless because I'm a lazy piece of crap like they trying to say I am.
Satanic infestation.
And I was targeted. I was blackballed. It was absolute deliberate. And if any FBI studied what happened to me, they'll go, yep, that guy was targeted. No question about it. So, all right, guys, love you all. But if we defeat and start arresting like the Nazis were doing, and we join forces with all these nations and say, well, let's just arrest all these allegorical people and we can just go back to America, and China can do what the hell they want to do, Russia can do what they want to do, US can do whatever we want to do, all these third world countries will be freed from this allegoric control of kings and queens and people with their freaking satanic bloodlines of Cain can just go in a prison somewhere and be freaking handcuffed, and you might want to put them up against a wall and shoot them because they have destroyed this planet. And we don't listen, our planet is probably might not make it back from what they've done, especially what Bill Gates have done. Humanity might be wiped out because of what these people have done. We might not be able to regenerate a godlike human. I mean, look what they've done to us. You have no let me tell you, the things that I'm telling you that they've done to us, there's about 90% more of it that I don't even know about. Do you think I know the files of DARPA and Palantir and all the satanic cult of PayPal and all this crap. I don't know these people. I don't know. I don't have no hive mind that can connect to all the secret societies and secret oaths. All I can do is tell you what I know. You know, Jesus, God knows way more than I do. I just can tell you what I know. And by the way, it's probably over the head of about 99% of the population. Well, I think it's maybe 90% now because people are waking up. And of course, I'm being shadow banned, and the only people listening to me is the intelligence agencies. How are you doing today? How are you guys doing today? You won't let me buy or sell anything. You won't let me have food. You're trying to cut my water off, make me homeless, steal my house, steal my car, destroy my life, my career, my reputation. Is there any possible way that you guys are going to wake up? Yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to, yeah, you, yeah, you, the guy without the tie. No, I'm talking to the guy with the tie too, okay? But yeah, the guy with the jacket and the suit. Yeah, I'm talking to you. All right, yeah, okay. So I'm having fun here. But it's true. It's true. When are you going to wake up and realize that your children, your life, your world is over with? Do you think Bill Gates, when he sprayed with the airplane spray, did he said, "Oh, you're immune to it. Eat this certain bread and eat this certain food, and you'll detox." Right? You're not going to detox from nanotechnology and genetic manipulating RNA and spike proteins. You probably got it from your dog. Well, I didn't take the back. Well, you got it from your dog. You're out in the woods one day and you got it from a wild animal. They're injecting everything with it. Why do you think animal control took over everything? Look, I'm not going to get into the details, but all I can tell you is people that are adopting animals all of a sudden got an influx of money. And that's why Beaglegate, I was arrested because I found a Beaglegate laboratory on my street. They staged a phony arrest, charged me with a felony. Because I found Big Pharma in my neighborhood killing beagles. And they knew that it killed beagles. Oh, by the way, it was on the news the other day that monkeys were released out of Tulane. They're still experimenting on monkeys. Why are they experimenting on monkeys? Oh, we're trying to find an antivirus. Bullshit. They're trying to kill you. If they can kill that monkey, they'll kill you. And then they say, oh, the monkeys are not infected. Well, last night I had an incident to where my dogs were outside for a little while and man, they went berserk. Kind of like what happened in 2017 when I was arrested. They went berserk. They sensed serious danger last night. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I just got to go through my hidden cameras and see what the heck was going on. And I can hear a human being walking in the woods. I know the difference between a deer and a human being and an armadillo walking in the woods. I know the difference. I know the sound. And so do my dogs. And my dogs don't go crazy over an armadillo. You know, they might run it down and chase it off the property, but they don't go insane. They go insane when a human has a weapon. And look, they have something called an ice crystal gun. Matter of fact, the guy that went to China during Hurricane Katrina that they arrested, our mayor, and they knew that he was contaminated with the Katrina virus that was released during Hurricane Katrina. You know, everybody in New Orleans is a bunch of lab rats, and we've been injected with spike proteins a long time ago. That's why Bill Clinton lived here. That's why Joe Biden's great-grandfather lived here. Okay, so there's a lot of secrets that you don't know about. That's why Oswald was working here and for these underground laboratories, cancer research. And that's why the trial was held in 1968 by William Garrison, a New Orleans district attorney, because Oswald was from here. So there's so many things that people don't know about the mob that runs New Orleans and the immigrants like the Fasolo family, the Campo family, and which is an extension of the Ornezi family, I'm telling you, and the Medici family, and the Rothschild and Rockefellers. And these are people that's who infiltrated your hospitals during COVID and ran a psychological, spiritual warfare and they were getting all the numbers of who's going to conform, who's not going to conform, who they need to arrest, who they not to need to arrest. They were running a science experiment. Okay, so all right, guys. Thanks for listening. God bless, and we've got to if our puppets on a string, Hollywood actor, politicians won't arrest these pedophile, child trafficking, black market organ harvesting, sex trafficking, drug trafficking, war starting, poison our food, poison our air, poison our water, oligarchs. If they won't arrest them, then you're going to have to do it yourself.